Welcome back to another episode of Strategy Simplified. We're so excited today to have with us both Brett Conradt and Jeremy Wall. They're going to be telling us a lot about Stax, why they joined the company, why they've stayed, why you should think about joining. We're excited to have them here with us today. Welcome, guys.
Thanks for having us.
Now, we here at Strategy Simplified, we love to start off with just some fun questions, get a chance to get to know you a little bit better on a personal level before we dive into the information about your firm. So we've got 3 questions teed up. Jeremy, I'll put the first one to you first. What is one item from your bucket list?
From the bucket list, I'd say one thing that I have never had any interest in, like desire to do, but that I've always wanted to just see how I would react is like just something super high adrenaline, like jumping out of a plane. Like I've never done anything like that. I don't do stuff like that, but I'd be super curious to just see, just what my reaction would be. I think like longer term, very interested in space travel also, but not very practical right now.
Oh my gosh, I love that. Very optimistic. I mean, hopefully it's sooner rather than later on the space travel. I would love to partake in that as well. I love it. Nice. Brett, what about you?
I like to keep my feet a little bit more firmly on the ground than Jeremy. And I used to race a lot of triathlon. Unfortunately, I'm a bit washed up these days, but I never made it to Kona. I never qualified for Kona, and so that is definitely something that I would really enjoy doing, and that still remains on my bucket list.
Oh gosh, absolutely. Love it. I love that. Great answers from you both. Our second question we've got, Brett, I'll have you go with this one first. What's your favorite weekend activity?
So for me, really like spending time with the family. Obviously, the weeks are very, very busy, and so I've got a wonderful wife and 2 boys that are 8 and 5. And so love spending time outdoors with them, and when we can get away, love to go camping together and just hanging out as a family.
Oh, lovely. And a good activity that hopefully you've been able to still engage in over the past couple of years with all the other troubles. Fantastic. Jeremy, what about you?
Yeah, similar. The work week is we've been very busy as a firm, and weekends are really precious, both for me personally, I think for a lot of the people at the firm. And so for me, it's more, I have a daughter who's 9, a son who's 7, and kids sports, just like going to soccer games, going to baseball, softball, just getting to spend time with the family outside, living vicariously through them as they go through their trials and tribulations in youth sports. But that's for me right now, just the best part of the week.
Absolutely. Thanks for sharing that, of course. Jeremy, I'll push this next one to you first. So who's one person from history that you would love to get dinner with? Yeah,
this is it's a difficult question. I think just from like a historical standpoint, it would probably be like an ancient philosopher like Socrates or something like that, like somebody who would have been like the original, like first consultant ever in the history of time. I think like personally though, it would be my dad's father who passed away when my dad was 2. And so he never really met him. I never met him. None of my family met him. And to get to spend time with him, meet him, know who he is, and to, tell him everything turned out all right. That would be personally what I would pick.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Understandable. Brett, what about you? One person from history.
Sure. I think for me, hard to pinpoint one specific individual, but I'm really interested in the development of our nation and sort of the evolution of the country and where we are today. And I'd love to have dinner with some of the civil rights leaders like MLK Jr. or Harriet Tubman or Malcolm X to see how their vision compares to what the reality is today. And to see how much progress they had wanted to see, and how that has played out in today's world. I think that'd be a really interesting dinner and conversation.
Absolutely. No, thank you both for the depth in those answers. I couldn't agree more, right? Wanting to dive deep into seeing the Socratic method in practice in the real world, right? From the original creator, or somebody from my family tree, or somebody from the birth of our country, and kind of that progress we've made since then. I love it. Thank you guys so much. It's great to take just a couple of seconds here off the top to get to know you a little bit better on a personal level. We do now want to shift into learning about your company. It's the core of why you're here today. We'd love to hear more about Stax. And let's start off, Brett, with you. Could you just provide a quick background on yourself? And we're interested in the high-level stops on your journey that culminated in you ending up at Stax.
Sure, absolutely. Happy to share. So a little bit of a windy road, to be honest. I started, so I went to undergrad at University of Illinois down in Champaign-Urbana, where I graduated with a degree in marketing. From there, moved on to a role in brand and product management. And that's where I thought I was really going to want to spend my time. I knew I was interested in the consumer and retail space, and really got a lot of good hands-on experience bringing product to market. Everything from sourcing in China to getting product on shelves with retailers. And so that's where my career started. From there, I started getting intrigued by the consulting world, and I found a role at a consulting firm that was more focused on messaging, communications, branding, so more tied to my background at the time. And that's where I really learned to do a lot of research, interact with clients, be able to tell a story, those types of things, and analyze data, et cetera. So that was kind of the next key stop. At the time, I was also going back to business school, and was really getting more and more excited about the consulting world. And it was looking for different opportunities and came across Stax. And so I joined Stax in 2006 as a consultant, just a couple of weeks after Jeremy had joined, and we started our careers at Stax very, very closely to each other, and have just enjoyed the journey since then.
Oh, love it. Thank you. I appreciate that introduction there. And Jeremy, we've gotten a preview here that you've also been at Stax for about 15 years. But what about you in terms of your background and your journey to get there?
Yeah, I got an undergraduate degree in electrical engineering from Princeton, and had a very strong desire to understand the business side of technology, and the launching and development of new products. New ideas. And so after graduating, I started my career at the Nielsen Company in their innovation group that's very focused on new product forecasting, very data-driven, analytical approach to that, very research-driven. Learned a lot about services firms and working in services side, client services side, about business, about product development. And I also learned a lot about what I was looking for in a firm for the next stages of my career, and what I wasn't looking for in a firm in the next stages of my career. And similar to Brett, met Mark Bremer, who's the president of Stax, back in 2006, and learned a lot more about the firm. And it checked a lot of the boxes for what I was looking for those next stages of my career.
Absolutely. Jeremy, let's drill into that even a little bit deeper. What was it specifically about Stax that drew you to the firm?
So a number of different things. I think just on a personal level, a great connection with the leadership of the firm, 15 years ago. And then, as I thought about like staying and continuing to my career at Stax, it's been a couple of different things. One is just, it was a highly, and still is today, a very highly entrepreneurial firm. It's something where you really have the feeling, and I've had the feeling along the entire way, that I've had the ability to write my own future at the firm. And, a lot of responsibility is given to people. It's been given to me and to Brett over the years. And, it's been extremely rewarding to both get those opportunities, to deliver against the opportunities that we were given, and to continue to grow the firm.
Absolutely. It's a very enticing value proposition, completely. So, Jeremy, we've heard it from your side. Brett, you actually did already start to allude to some from a topical concept standpoint, how your background had led you to Stax. But why Stax instead of another firm?
Yeah, it's a great question, and I think it all starts with the work. The work that we do is super interesting, and you gotta love what you do, and we get to solve complex business issues every day, and that to me is a very fun job. That's really exciting. So that's what gets me up every day. I think along the lines of what Jeremy mentioned, I think there's just a lot of opportunities for growth here. There are a wealth of opportunities for individuals. The firm continues to grow, and there's just there's not really a day that goes by without you finding yourself learning something new, and tackling a new opportunity. So that's been really exciting. And then the last thing I'd say is just the people. We've got a lot of very smart people at Stax, but we also have a very open and collaborative environment. And so when a firm is growing at the rate we are, there's opportunities for everyone. And I think that feeds into the culture whereby people are motivated and want to succeed, but also want to see their peers succeed here too.
Mm-hmm, absolutely. Brett, perhaps I'll come back to you in just a second to go deeper into that people and culture element. But first, Jeremy, could you just kind of take a step back for a second, share a little bit more about Stax, the practice areas, the industries, and the type of work that you engage in?
Sure. Yeah. So the firm's about 25 years old, a little over 25 years old. And we're around 200 people 200 people in the firm. Practice areas are really centered around private equity as the kind of the nexus of all the different areas that we work in. So private equity funds and their portfolio companies, and we work with them throughout the deal lifecycle and throughout the investment lifecycle. We work in a wide range of sectors. So our top sectors are tech and healthcare, a ton of industrial work, consumer and retail work. And so we just have a pretty broad range of vertical areas of expertise, different people within the firm, kind of major and minor in different areas. And then in terms of the services that we provide to the private equity landscape and the investor landscape, I'd say like three main buckets. First bucket is around the buy side part of the equation and commercial due diligence. So helping private equity funds evaluate companies that they're thinking about acquiring, understanding the markets, understanding company, understanding customer relationships, and going deep through very research and analytically driven approach. Second bucket is value creation for the portfolio companies. After a private equity fund has made an investment, we work very closely with those portfolio companies in helping them with pretty targeted, reasonable time to value, our good ROI value creation projects, growth focused around top line growth, and that's things like launching a new product, expanding into a new market. Pricing strategy, just a variety of different areas that we focus on within that value creation. And then the last bucket would be exit planning and helping companies and their investors help prepare a company as they are thinking about selling it and to a new investor or to another company. So thinking about that both strategically and what are the areas that are going to be the most important areas for that next owner to be focused on in terms of the growth levers that they should be thinking about pulling down over the next handful of years, and then pretty tactically as well. So helping prepare management teams for going through that process, being prepared for the types of questions that they're likely to receive from potential investors, and just helping them along as stewards through that process.
Mm-hmm. So diligence, value creation, exit strategy really spans the gamut, the entire life cycle.
Yeah, it's kind of the life cycle. And then it's a pretty broad range in terms of the private equity, the size and type of private equity funds and other investors, as well as investment banks who we work with. I think if you pull up a list of the top 300 private equity firms in terms of size. We work with many of those. If you look at the top 50, we work with most of the top 50 private equity funds. So that's just very large cap, tens of billions of dollars fund size private equity funds, all the way into the middle market and into growth funds as well. So we span the range of private equity sizes, and that means that we're also looking at deals and working with companies that are across a pretty broad range of levels of maturity and scale, which from a personal level, and I think a lot of the team feels this way as well, is it's pretty fun. It's fun to see it's fun to be able to work with companies that are earlier on in their development stage and evaluate companies that have a 300% growth rate, as well as with very large, kind of more mature companies that are trying to continue to optimize along the way. So that's a pretty broad range of clients and companies who we work with within that landscape.
Absolutely. You're a leader in this space, working across all aspects of the life cycle, breadth of experience across different types of clients. And you've both said that type of work excites you and energizes you, but it's got to be more than just the type of work you do, right? It's got to be also about the people that you work with and the culture that you have as a firm. So, Brett, I'm going to come back to you from that point that you made earlier. Could you just expand in that area? Could you speak to the firm culture and why should folks want to come work at Stax?
Yeah, absolutely. Happy to do so. So I think tied to what Jeremy was saying, and just working throughout that capital cycle, it really requires fast-paced learning, and definitely there's a culture in which people come up to speed very quickly, dive in really quickly. And so there's a big element of just kind of growth and learning in a very fast paced and dynamic environment, particularly as it relates to deals. And I think in addition to that, just sort of the diversity in project types and industries. So you get a lot of exposure to a lot of different types of projects and industries. Continuing on the culture side of things, I think there's just opportunities for career development, fast progression for growth. As Jeremy and I both alluded to, we give folks opportunities when they've earned those opportunities, and that includes exposure to clients, client interaction, et cetera. And so that career development is really an attractive part of the firm culture. I think another point is just along the lines of a true meritocracy. We definitely pride ourselves on giving our employees responsibility early on, and this definitely leads to exciting careers and growth and learning trajectories. But it's really based on people's merit and not tenure or politics or anything along those lines. It's definitely based on meritocracy. And then the last thing I'd mention is just access to a leadership team, access to managers, open nature of the culture. Given the size of the firm that we are, people know each other, and when you know somebody, you care about them. And so even if it's not your project or your work to do specifically, everybody's very collaborative and open to helping one another in their work because they know each other and therefore care about each other.
I love that. It's not that the firm's too big or has too many layers that you're, so far removed from the leadership, but this team-oriented environment and nature, opportunity for career progression, opportunity to take on ownership and get exposure to clients, and these are all the things that anybody be looking for as opportunities in a firm to join. So I love that you've mentioned those different aspects, and in addition to the things that Brett just went through, and Jeremy, I know that you've spoken to some of this as well in terms of the type of work you're involved in at Stax, but what are some other things that you think may separate Stax from other boutique consulting firms?
I think that we have there's I think a couple different dimensions you can think about differentiation across from other firms. So in firms that do similar type of work to what we do, I think a lot of the cultural elements that Brett touched on are really at the core of that. We have people come over from other consulting firms who just we're Stax is just a breath of fresh air for them in their lives, in their daily lives, and in their careers. They feel like they don't have to play games, and they can just do great work, and really focus on the work, and on getting better, and learning and expanding their capabilities over time. And so I think that there's a lot of, I think we're very proud of what we offer the team in that regard. I think when you think about Stax relative to other boutique firms who do different things, who may do other types of consulting, other areas, I think the type of work that we do really is can be quite exciting and powerful for somebody who's early in their career, and get a lot of exposure to a wide range of different areas. Our projects tend to be generally shorter in nature, and by shorter I mean like a month, a couple of months. It's not something where you're working on the same project for 12 months, 18 months, something like that. And you're just cross your fingers that you join the firm and that you got onto a good project that you're going to be interested in for the next 18 months. At Stax, you get a lot of diversity of projects, and a lot of diversity in terms of sectors as well, which, for the people who come on or pretty early in their career and looking to get exposure to a wide range of things, can be pretty exciting. We have people who come in not having any idea of what sector that they want to spend time in, who find a passion in healthcare or find a passion in software, and then take that to the next as they grow either at Stax or elsewhere, that they can take that on and learn that about themselves. I think we offer a really exciting opportunity for people who are looking to learn more about themselves.
Absolutely. I'm sure a ton of our listeners are going through this discussion right now thinking about, hey, all the pieces of the value proposition are there. This is what I want to get out of consulting. I'm looking to do something like this. So, Brett, I'll pass the mic back over to you. I hear that Stax is hiring now. So can you speak to the open roles that the firm's hiring for?
Yeah, absolutely. So we've been fortunate enough to continue growing, and this past year we've even 18 months have just grown like gangbusters, and so it's been really exciting. And so we are really hiring across the board. At a associate level, for folks out of undergrad, we have long established relationships with a number of different universities in the Chicagoland area for our Chicago office. So places like University of Illinois, Notre Dame, Northwestern, University of Chicago, et cetera, where we've really entrenched ourselves in those programs, and have participated in case studies or career fairs or helping teach classes, et cetera. And so definitely lots of opportunities at the junior level. And then from there, all the way spanning through manager and director, we're looking for folks to lead teams. We're looking for folks to be critical parts of teams. And so just a wealth of opportunity right now. And have seen folks come in from industry and succeed, have seen folks come in from other consulting firms and succeed. And, I think our onboarding process is great, and our talent development process is great. And so when we do have new folks join us, have a very structured approach to bringing them into the fold at Stax.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And let's drill on that a little bit deeper, Brett. What do you think are some of the skills and qualities that the firm's looking for in an ideal candidate?
Yeah, I think there's a few things, and Jeremy could probably add on to this too. But I think, one of the things that's really, really critical is folks who just don't shy away from accountability. So in a project team, everyone's pulling their weight. There's really no place to hide, and people who enjoy that really do succeed and do well at the firm. And it's a situation where people who want that ownership and accountability can certainly find it at Stax. I think the other thing that I would highlight is just the idea that we hire folks with very diverse backgrounds, and so bringing in that background into the problem solving, into the structured thinking is really valuable. And so you heard my background's in marketing and Jeremy's is in engineering. And so we have very different ways of thinking, but both can be very valuable to a project. And if you look across the project team, it's very much a mix of folks with different backgrounds. And then the last thing I'd say is just folks who really want to dive in, folks who aren't afraid of getting their hands dirty. We are big believers that nobody is above the work at Stax, and so everybody's on the hook for delivering great work to clients, and we all play up and down in different roles. And again, everybody is a doer here, and really wants to dive into the work. So.
A great list. And I think a lot of those things would be encouraging to many of our listeners who are worried that their non-traditional background may be evaluated poorly, let alone be valued at their future firm. So, that Stax recognizes the value of that, is looking to create that diversity of thought in their teams. That's fantastic. Jeremy, is there anything you want to add on there?
A couple of things I could add. One thing that we didn't really touch on is just we are a very data and analytically driven firm. And so, we have great analytics capabilities that we bring to our clients. We have specialist teams within the firm who are focused entirely on data science, data analytics. And we integrate all of that into the teams, into the work that we're doing. I do think it's important for this and the skills and the qualities that we're looking for from people. We are looking for people who are comfortable with data. We really highly value diversity of thought and diversity of experience, diversity of background, but there is kind of a common thread of just being, people are very analytical in their mindset. Intellectual curiosity, I think, like kind of standard consulting stuff, but I do think data and comfort with data is pretty important. And then, kind of piggybacking on what Brett said, I think that it's very important because we give people so much responsibility along the way. We're really looking for people who are excited to lean in, and figure things out, as opposed to being told what to do all the time and being more of a task automaton kind of thing. We're excited about people who just get invested in the projects that we're doing, and are always thinking about, okay, what's next. That type of mentality is really valuable to our firm, and is something that we're looking for from people.
Absolutely. It sounds like, if somebody's really ready to jump in, get that opportunity to own something, have accountability towards that, and is excited about this space, I feel like there's probably a lot of people listening now who would love to learn more and take the next steps. So Brett, I'll throw it back to you. What would be the best way for folks to get to know you a little bit better, and what should be their next steps?
Sure, absolutely. So from a firm standpoint, I think going on to our website where there's a lot of content is a great way to learn more. Going to sites like LinkedIn where there's a lot of good information that we post, things that we can communicate around industries, markets, et cetera. So that's certainly a great way to get a better understanding and handle on the kind of work that we're doing, how we think, how we interact with clients, et cetera. And then just from reaching out to us, we always encourage people to ping us on LinkedIn. Like I said, we're very accessible and open to talking to folks, whether they be junior level, senior level, et cetera. We just want to connect with folks in the industry. And so always happy to have those conversations and connections with individuals.
Love it. Brett, Jeremy, we thank you both so much for being with us here today. Jeremy, I'll put it to you first. Any other final thoughts here as we wrap up our conversation?
No, I really appreciate you spending the time with us. As you can probably tell, we're excited about our firm. We love what we do, and we think that there is a lot more growth opportunity going forward. And we're looking for people who want to join us along that path. And so thanks very much for the opportunity.
Absolutely. Thank you. Brett, any final thoughts here?
Same, Stephanie, would just echo, appreciate the time from you today and the opportunity to participate in this. I think, important for folks who are looking for opportunities. The consulting world's a very big space, and there's all different types of consulting and all different types of firms. And so we just encourage folks to really dive in and understand what you're getting into, the kind of work a firm is doing, and the culture of a firm. And like Jeremy said, we think we have a great one, and so we'd love to connect with folks who are who would be a great fit for the firm and for the culture here at Stax.
Absolutely. Brett and Jeremy, thank you both again so much. It's been great to learn more about Stax, how you've been growing, and the opportunities that folks have to join your team. Thank you.
Thank you.